We're starting today's adventure in the green pastures of the British properties, or the BPs as the kids call them. With me on camera as always is Rick Von Schmidt. Today we're going to be talking about the final day of the one and only Errol Flynn. Flynn was born in Tasmania in 1909, and he had an incredible life. After several adventures, he became a notorious Hollywood celebrity. He developed a reputation for a wild lifestyle, including promiscuity, chain smoking, drug use, and a lot of booze. Here he is in 1936 in Stanley Park when his Hollywood Cricket Club played the Vancouver Cricket Club at Brockton Point in Stanley Park. I believe that's him lower left with the pipe. By 1959, the 50-year-old Flynn's acting career was in the dumper. He had some significant legal problems, and his unhealthy lifestyle had caught up with him. He was out of money and trying to sell his only asset, this yacht called the Zaka. I believe this is Errol here arriving at the Vancouver airport on October 9th, 1959. Reporters asked him about the girl he was with. It was his 16-year-old girlfriend, Beverly Adland. Errol was trying to sell his yacht to his friend George Caldo. George lived on Airmount Drive. George's house was demolished several years ago, but it was right here where this new house is. Apparently Flynn maintained his reputation that week. Some reports have him barefoot with a bottle of vodka in each hand being booted out of the Vancouver Yacht Club. Flynn may have overstayed his welcome at the Caldos. George tried for 3 days to get him on a flight out of town. He finally booked him a flight on October 14, 1959. It would be Errol Flynn's last day alive. George was driving Errol and Beverly to the airport that day. As they crossed the Lionsgate Bridge, Errol began complaining of severe pain in his back and legs. He hadn't been well all week, but this appeared serious. Errol said, "I gotta see a doctor." Going through downtown, they could have stopped at St. Paul's Hospital, but perhaps they didn't want to attract the press. So George drove to the Sylvia Hotel to see the house doctor, Grant Gould. When they arrived here at the Sylvia, Doc Gould wasn't there, so George called his office. Doc Gould said he was on his way home and suggested they meet them there, a few blocks away on Burnaby Street. And this is the very building right here where Doc Gould lived. George and Beverly helped Errol get inside, and they had difficulty getting him up the stairway to Doc Gould's penthouse apartment. His apartment's around back, and it's kind of tough to see from the ground, but let's go take a look. Once Doc Gould saw Errol, he figured his pain was arthritis and injected him with 50 milligrams of Demerol. Errol felt better, and somehow word got out that he was there because dozens of people arrived and a party broke out. Right up there at the top of the building, Errol stood against a wall to ease his back pain. He regaled the crowd with stories of his adventures. He told them of his time fighting in the Spanish Civil War, hanging out with Fidel Castro, and drinking with W.C. Fields. After a few hours, he told them he was going to lie down for a few minutes, and then they would all go to dinner. He reportedly said, "I shall return." He moved into the doctor's bedroom and lay down. A few minutes later, at 6:45 p.m., Beverly went in and screamed when she found him blue in the face. Doc Gould rushed in and injected adrenaline directly into his heart, while Beverly performed mouth-to-mouth respirations. There was no other option. They had to get Errol to the hospital right away. Errol was rushed to the then brand new Centennial Pavilion at Vancouver General Hospital here, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. I always wondered why they hadn't taken Errol here to the St. Paul's Hospital, which was only a couple of blocks away from Doc Gould's apartment. Might have saved a little time. Errol's body was then brought here. This is now the Vancouver Police Museum, but at the time it was the city morgue. They brought Errol through the back door and he came up in the elevator. He was brought into this room here and examined. The coroner's report and the death certificate lists several reasons for the cause of death. All of his organs were pretty much used up after years of abuse. Coroner Glenn MacDonald wrote a book in 1985 about his career called How Come I'm Dead? MacDonald includes a chapter about the autopsy of one of his heroes. It seemed, I thought at the time, an ignominious end for a famous movie star, he said. It also includes a strange anecdote about the autopsy, which isn't appropriate for my family-friendly vlog here, eh? Errol was on this very bed when they examined him. We do have a picture of him here, although you may wish to close your eyes for a moment while I show it. Errol's body spent the night in one of these drawers before the permit to remove the body was granted. The next day it was placed into a plain pine box marked, "Please handle with care." Don't touch that. Here it is. I went via train to Los Angeles. He's buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park Cemetery in L.A. against his wishes. Wrapping things up back here at the beautiful Sylvia Hotel, I can tell you that Errol had completed his autobiography in 1959 and it was published right after he died. It is called My Wicked, Wicked Ways. A few years later, George wound up in jail for securities fraud. Not much is known about him after that. And I don't know what happened to Doc Gould. Beverly wrote a book about her relationship with Errol called The Big Love. She died in 2010 at the age of 67. There's one more piece to Errol's legacy here in Vancouver, and I will show it to you soon in an upcoming vlog. I hope you enjoyed this little taste of old Vancouver as she once was. I'd like to thank Bev Sugarman for makeup, Jewel Hailmere for wardrobe. On behalf of Rick and myself, thanks for watching. And until next time, that's a good bee.